hear yourself.
Well, it's not because it's kind of delayed. But that's weird. Am I doing something wrong?
Yes, you're doing something wrong.
I must be, right?
You're always doing something wrong.
I'm
Very
so
rarely.
excited.
Look, every day we get up, we're probably doing something wrong. Do you turn your car engine on and burn gas? That's wrong.
No, I don't do that. I wish I
Oh,
could show you my car. It's in a bag in the back.
you've covered it up. You don't drive anymore.
No. And also, there's a linden tree which comes all over the car. Have you heard of
Oh.
lindens?
Uh,
They smell like jizz in the spring.
uh, that would be the first I've heard of it. Sorry.
It's a real thing. It smells like cum, and
This is how we're starting the podcast.
my car has been bukkakied, so I put it in a bag that I got at Canadian Flat
You're a
Tire.
maniac. You're a maniac. I was going to start off with, wow, what a crazy 3 weeks of Formula One racing, and you start off
What a crazy 3 weeks of racing.
with
Let's
some
talk about it.
race, with some race. And we talked about how do we attract listeners, maybe by not being so shocking. And you come out like that, like a Max Verstappen driving into people. You're the Max Verstappen of podcasts.
What a prick, hey?
How do you not talk about this loser?
And then, see, this is his new thing. Since the FIA has a gag order on what the drivers can and cannot say, anytime a normal human being, not a normal, he's not
You
abnormal.
can't say normal. I think that's
Yeah.
wrong, right?
Anytime, polite society would dictate that you would apologize when you did something wrong. That's what a man does too, right?
Yeah.
But instead, when Max does something wrong and he's supposed to apologize, he instead says, "Look, I'm sorry, I can't say anything more. The FIA won't let me." He's a psychopath. It's incredible.
It is shocking. So first of all, what I want to say is I think it's Rachel from Sky TV. That was the feed I was getting. Whew, I mean, she went for it.
Did she?
Yeah. She tried to get him to to answer. Was it deliberate? Like, were you angry? Were you upset? Did you feel like you were like she tried, and he was just. You got to look at the interview. It's amazing that you can win 4 world championships, be an incredible race car driver, and still be so, like, miserable and angry.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'm
look
angry
at his
because
dad. Look
yeah,
who his dad is.
I guess there you
The
go. It's
fruit
not his
doesn't
fault.
fall.
It's not Max's
Well,
fault.
I
It's
know
Yasser's
it's
fault.
still his. I mean, it's our prerogative as men to maybe take some personal agency in things and become better than the prior generation.
Well, I
Don't
have
you think?
lots. Yeah, absolutely. We gotta. You
Got to
can't just
improve.
blame. You can't blame. Although I like blaming. I
Got to
like blaming.
improve on Stanley and Ken.
You know.
Just like Henry and Hart are going to improve on me, whereas you, it ends with you.
Yeah. And it should.
No.
Yes. I offer nothing to this world. Now, I have
Hey,
lots
hey,
to
hey!
say.
That's a heavy trip.
No,
Okay,
it's not.
come on.
In the grand scheme of things, your existence is completely meaningless, as is Max's 4 world championships and Ayrton Senna's driving to Alain Prost in Japan.
But there's
If you
other
want to,
schemes.
if you want to blame every,
You mentioned the grand scheme. There's other schemes, and they
well,
matter.
what are the? No.
You matter.
I am made of matter, and in being made of matter, I will always exist. I've got lots to say, so I'm going to talk a lot in this podcast, and you're going to ask me questions, and you're going to shoot me down.
Did you send me questions beforehand?
No, you're just going to listen to what, because I can't believe the last 3 weeks. First of all, 3 weeks of Formula One racing it's kind of nice to go from race to race each weekend. I also think it puts the teams under pressure. It must do the amount of work they do. And I also think it makes the drivers get, a little bit frustrated with everything as it culminates clearly with Max here in Spain. Okay, so let's talk about Monaco. You saw the whole race? We talked a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
I enjoyed that.
It ended up being pretty good. The two stops didn't make much sense, right? They didn't work with the forced 2 stops.
It didn't make much difference.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it created a whole nother talking point, which was people were like, well, this doesn't feel like racing because now one car just slows up all the other cars.
Yeah, that is that not something they took into consideration?
Well, they did, but here's something to remember, JB. All these smart, powerful people that you think take, really considered decision making, they don't. They're not smart. They
Yeah.
didn't figure it out.
No,
That was
it's true.
obviously what was going to happen.
It's amazing when you see successful people screw up and you
Mhm.
go, "This doesn't make sense.
No,
You're successful. You should
no,
know better." But we don't.
no. Do you know how many people weighed in on that decision?
How
What
many?
I don't know.
Thousands?
I was hoping you had the answer, but clearly lots. Like, and they all went, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Um, Alexander Wirtz, who's the head of the GPDA, has proposed some physical changes to the track at Monaco that may increase the opportunities for passing. And just do it. That's the most obvious thing. Change the track, give it some more physical areas where there's harder braking, and change the apex of corners to allow a car to potentially get in there. They've got the money. It's Monaco.
I mean, sure. Go ahead and do that, but also change your attitude. Why are you watching Monaco?
Well, that's a good point.
Like, just enjoy all the yachts.
Mhm.
You've been there, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
great place.
it
Just
is.
look at all the people. There could have been some more celebrity shots.
Uh,
Like, I didn't see too many. I saw Leo sitting there watching the race.
Leonard DiCaprio?
Yeah, yeah. Leonard, you say Leonard?
No, we're good
Oh, that's
friends.
cool. Lenny D.
Yeah.
I need more. I need more of those. I need more jewels and outfits, and
Mhm.
because that's what Monaco's about.
Well,
It's not about overtaking. So the so it didn't. So it wasn't exciting, but it wasn't a lot more boring than a lot of other races. Cars, bikes, baseball can be boring as fuck. This is why we have a phone.
mhm,
Right?
maybe
If you're not to screen, then what century are you living in? I was doing schoolwork the entire time. It was fine.
while you were watching, the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It worked out. I do like some space to where things don't where you don't have to always pay attention.
well, I like immersing myself. I prefer not to work while watching a race. I like
Yeah.
to hear everything, pay
You have to
attention to
get right
everything.
into it.
I like to get into it. I think here's what you do. You change the track physically, I think, is what you do to Monaco. Why not? They got the money. Second, what I would do is, because Monaco is a glitz and glamorous circuit and famous rich celebrities that we've somehow put on a pedestal are there. Why not set up so that you can have a one reporter that throughout the show checks in with Leonard DiCaprio if he's available, if like,
Yeah, he's
or
not, but
no, but some
Terry
others.
Crews is available.
Yeah, exactly. Terry Crews is
Why
right
is
there.
Terry's right there.
Um,
But we'll get on to that.
so now let's get into Spain. I've got three things I want to talk about. One was Nico Rosberg talking about and Anthony Davis were talking about the rules of engagement when passing.
Mhm.
And
This is after the Max thing? The
yeah, this is
touching?
after the Max thing. And they were talking about, if a car's up on the inside and there's a car on the outside, the pass is legitimate when your front tire is within, I think it's the front mirror of the car that you're trying to pass. So therefore you need to be given space, right? I think if passing is so hard in Formula One, this is everyone complains about, that it shouldn't be that you have to get your car right alongside anymore. They just change it. As long as your car is, your rear tires are ahead, your front tires are ahead of the rear tires of the car in front, they have to give you a little bit of space. They can't just close the door, right? Because if that was a wall, if that was, you wouldn't just, the
Mhm.
wall's still there. Like so, and I'm not a race car driver, so they'll tell me I'm an idiot. But that's what I think. There's no, you can't just close the door. Now, what happened with George was he lost a little bit of control when he was behind, because if you saw it, there was Leclerc, there was Max, and there was George. So George did everything right up until one moment when he lost a little bit of control because Leclerc's car created a disturbance in the airflow. And then that's what made him lose a little bit of grip. And everyone's like, Nico's like, well, he lost car control, so that's his fault. And I'm like, he did 2 out of the 3. Like, of the rules of engagement. That's pretty good,
Oh, I like this.
right? It's pretty good. He did 2
Mhm.
out of 3. And maybe if Leclerc's car was whatever, 1 inch to the right or 2 inches more forward, he wouldn't have had that little snap of understeer. And then he wouldn't have touched. If Max Verstappen was in George Russell's position, George would have done the exact same thing, and he would have said, I had the rights to that corner. Roles reversed. These F1 drivers are maniacs. They flip-flop like I've never seen.
Especially Max. I mean, he doesn't know what putting yourself in someone else's shoes means. He's never done it in his entire life. Did you see that comparison on Instagram between European football players and hockey players?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of Max is kind of like the football player, hey?
Yeah, yeah.
Diving,
Yes.
complaining, crying,
Yeah. Mhm.
holding his hands up to his eyes and calling foul. And
Mhm.
I mean, even while he was leading the race, the radio chatter from him is just
Yeah.
complaint after complaint after complaint.
Could you imagine if he was in, like, the second worst car or last worst? Like, imagine if
Yeah,
he'd kill
yeah,
himself. I don't know what he
yeah.
would do.
I bet he can be balls deep in making
Wow.
sweet, sweet love and going, it could be a little bit better.
Oh, it's raining
Coming
outside.
out.
What happened? You just left the room with that comment for me to deal with the onslaught of people going, "What's wrong with these old white guys? These old idiot white guys trying to do a podcast about Formula One. Don't know what they do." I just went on a rant that we were old and white and we shouldn't be talking.
What's wrong with being white
We're
or old?
old. We're just old and white,
No, don't worry.
you
Don't
know.
worry about. Don't be
Okay. Actually,
self-loathing in your ageism and
you're
your racism. You're
you're
being racist.
against myself.
Yeah.
You're not really white at all. You're kind of like a sweet little cherry. Your cheeks are so rosy
Yeah,
and your forehead.
I
Like,
know. They're getting a bit redder. I got some Dr. Jarts the other day, so I've been
what the
putting
hell is
that
that?
on. It's Korean correcting cream. It's green.
Korean correcting cream.
Korean correcting cream. You put it's green and you put it on here and it takes down the red.
Okay, such
I don't know
alliteration.
why I've got so much red.
Well,
I
you
was
were
worried it was drinking, but then I quit drinking during the week and I still have it. Like it's hot. My
your
face
face
is
is hot
always,
right now.
yeah. And I remember having hot face at theater sports. And I would tell people I got hot face right now because I was keyed up. I was ready to go
Yeah.
on stage. But and then I was also hooked on dry heaving. But well, that's another thing. But now the
What
hot face is still here, and you can see it, whereas before you could never see
is
it.
the dry heaving still sticking around?
No, no, I got caught once, and I was shamed out of doing that
At a dry heaving? Why were you dry heaving?
I think because of the endorphin rush. It was actually a calming thing. Backstage, I would start dry heaving. And then I can't remember who saw
Wow.
me, but it was like, oh yeah, I should probably stop doing this in public.
Wow, you would get
Yeah,
so worked up before,
yeah,
I mean, it is scary to go on stage and improvise
yeah,
and make up stuff and try and be entertaining for a whole bunch of people.
yeah.
That is nerve-wracking. Not everyone can do it. But
And I haven't. I mean,
I've never
I
dry
hadn't done
heaved.
it in years.
I've never dry heaved because of nerves. The most I've had is had to go to go number 2, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But that's gone now. I'm usually fine. Although
Oh,
tonight I'm doing stand-up.
no. Are you
Yeah.
nervous?
Well, I have to try new jokes,
You should be
right?
nervous then.
Yeah, so
Not
I'm a little
should,
ner
but it'd be
I I'm
understandable.
getting there. I'm getting there because I was looking at some of my notes for jokes and they're not very good.
Yeah, man, stand-up's hard. Why are you doing stand-up?
Because I want to. I think I
Is
want
it
to. I
because
want
you
to.
love stand-up, or is it because you wanna do it all? Like, you're ambitious still?
I'm still ambitious, and when I watch good stand up, I find it quite inspiring,
It
I'm
really
like,
is,
I
yeah.
want to do that. It's fun.
That's the trap of
Yeah.
stand-up, for
Mhm.
me it was. It was you'd watch somebody and be like, "Oh, god," and you write all this stuff, and then you do it, and I'm just a much better fan than I am a practitioner.
Well, you know what? You might be better at stand-up than you think, JB. I think
That's nice of you, but I don't think it's in the cards. I can't stay up past 10 o'clock at night for one thing.
that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
So you know what? Just like the DJs that do dance music parties in coffee shops in the morning because nobody stays out late anymore, like we used to when you were younger and go
Oh.
party. They do that in the coffee shops, and there's dance parties in the morning. Maybe we should do stand-up in the morning.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay, moving on. So let's talk about Leclerc and Max Verstappen. See, my prediction's coming true. Lots of drivers having altercations with Max finally.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
And they came together on the straightaway.
Yeah.
Now what? And they're like, whose fault is it? Well, it's very interesting because they're on a straightaway. So you think, how could there be contact, right?
Yeah.
They're going straight.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
Yeah.
But we all know what's happening. They're trying to position themselves to get to the optimum racing line to go into the corner, right?
Yeah.
Now, Max
is on the inside, right?
No, Max is on the outside.
Max is on the
Max has
outside.
at least 3/4 of a car width beside him and is not moving over. He's trying to keep Leclerc on the dirty side of the track. And Leclerc's like, well, I don't want to be there. So Leclerc is slowly moving this way. He's not jinking. He's not doing anything crazy. He's just, but Mac's like, well, I don't want him over here. And everyone's like, well, whose fault is it? I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think if you were to put blame, I'm not a race car driver, so I'm not like everybody else. I would say, because I have no experience, Max's fault, because Max still had room to go to the left, but Max didn't want to go to the left. This is the thing. When Max doesn't want something to happen, when it's not going his way, he's an immovable force. You can't sway him in any way. Any other driver would have moved over just a little bit for as long as they can. Because Max, again, roles reverse, would have done the exact same thing. And he did it to Lando Norris in Austria last year, and they crashed. Lando's like, well, I just won't move this time.
Yeah.
And they hit because Max was like, no, I'm going to drive you off the track. It's the exact same thing. Oh, I can't wait till Max is out of Formula One. He's 1 point away from a race ban.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
How do they calculate those points?
I believe it's when they've accumulated so many disciplinary actions throughout a season in a race. So he got a 10-second penalty which should have been a black flag, for literally driving into George Russell. That's a black flag. He should have been ejected.
Yeah.
And that should be a race ban for the next race.
Yeah. How come you don't think they come down harder on Max?
I think because look how much we're talking about it.
He's worth a lot of money.
Right? He creates controversy. He's everything you want in a sports franchise. You want people to be mouthy, belligerent.
I wonder if he had got a black flag, we wouldn't have heard from him afterwards, but would he still be thinking, I would say something, but I can't because I'm not allowed to. Like, would he be able to keep his top on for a black flag?
No.
He pops the top about everything. To me, it's amazing that people put up with it, but then again, that's a bully. A bully normalizes behavior and moves the goalposts over so far that when they come back here, everybody's like, hey, Max was nice to me. He let me fly in his jet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Max.
I think Lando must be happy that some of his responses were hilarious. When in the cool down room, he says, when they saw Max just drive into George, he says, I've done that before. And they all look over in Mario Kart, a video game.
That's pretty good.
Very funny. And then again, in the post-race conference, or post-race interview, they were trying to goad him into getting talking about it.
Lando?
Yeah. And Lando's like, well, clearly George Russell was at fault. He should have received a penalty.
No way. Look at Lando.
I think I'm going to make a prediction here. I think Lando's surprisingly in a good state of mind, and here's why. I think he played the championship game at the when he did not force going down the inside on Max at the lap 1 at the very start of the race.
Mm.
Lando was never going to have a great start. It's notorious that side of the grid in the Spanish Grand Prix. If you're in positions 2, 4, 5, especially if you're in 2, you're never going to get a good start because there's less tarmac laid down in front of you, right? For grip from the tires. I shouldn't say tarmac. I should say tire grip that gets laid down after people practice start and stuff. So it's the dirty side, don't get the traction. Whereas the cars behind also get all the slipstream. So when you're number 2 in Spain, it's almost worse. You'd rather be in Max's position. So he plays the championship strategy. I'm not going to get involved in anything stupid. He's only 10 points behind. He's seems way more casual. He's not beating himself as much. He's not saying as much about himself as much. He's just like, hey, you're in dirty air, 3 seconds, your race is done. That's how it is. And, him and Piastri are together. In terms of pace, they're pretty close. And this is why I think Norris might win the championship. I'm saying it now. I'm going to say it. I think Lando's going to win the championship, barring something stupid like mechanical failures getting in the way or something like that. I think he's going to win the championship because I think he's going to slowly get that car refined into what he needs to get it refined into because he's not quite as comfortable in it. And his race pace is actually better than Oscar's. So he just needs to get that qualifying a little bit better. And you watch. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And it's going to start. You'll start to see it in the back half of the season.
Okay. You don't think this is more hope than fact? Would you have said the same thing 3 races ago?
Well, I think his behavior of how he was talking about himself 4 races ago was not good. I thought
That can come back.
I don't know. I think he seems quite like the stuff's
This
kind
is
of
what
rolling
we
off.
always do. This is what we do. Is so 'cause we want everybody to get along. We so hope. We want everyone to have a great time. So we inject hope. Don't you think? As soon as somebody's turned a corner, we're like, that's it. That's indicative of the rest of his path. He had a great race. You know what? Actually, Lando. Yeah, maybe.
Well, he didn't have a great race. He didn't. He didn't.
No. I meant in general, not this one. But
Right. Okay.
maybe that was a bad example. But
I know what you're saying, but without hope,
we got nothing.
we got linden trees
I got nothing. Yeah.
spraying all over the cars.
Hey, Harvey Milk. Speaking of milk, Harvey Milk said you got to give him hope.
That's right. Harvey Milk did say that.
Yeah.
So I actually think Lando. I think we're going for a banger of a battle. I love Oscar too. I like them both. I mean, I
Let's
love
go
that
back to
Oscar's.
that start for a second.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that teamwork, that Ferrari move, that shift to the right?
At the very start?
Right at the start, they both were like, they just seemed to move right over like a team.
Oh, I don't know
They're
about
not
that.
working together, are they?
No, at the top, no, I don't think that would be the case. Not at the start. That'd be too hard. That was just them reacting to each other, I think. Poor Lewis. Why am I saying poor Lewis? He's 7-time world champion.
Because he's catastrophizing right now.
What's that mean?
Catastrophic thinking is where you assume the worst will happen, and you assume the worst is actually going to be more severe than it could ever be. And I think speaking of hope, I think he's losing hope at this stage of the game. I mean, the talk on the radio is so chippy from him.
Catastrophizing.
Yeah. Do you do that?
Well, probably.
Oh, well, you may know if you do, like, are you faced with, like, I don't know.
Okay. You know what? I think I do.
Something.
I think I might do. Because sometimes here's what happens. When I audition for like a TV and film role, sometimes depending on like the circumstance, so it's not like this all the time, but I'll get worked up because I'm spending time on this audition where the producers and I'm a producer, so I can
You're a
see
big
both
time
sides of
producer.
what they're doing. I'm not a
Yeah.
big time, but JB, I'm not
Small
big
time.
time. I'm a tiny time,
Keep
tiny
going.
time.
Carry on.
Um, where it's like, okay, it's going to be one day of work, maybe two, right? You can spend up all this time. You put your audition on tape. This sounds like this is, at least I'm not in a coal mine, okay, or whatever, digging rare earth materials out of a pit in Africa for the world elite. So
Let's
I don't
land
want
this
to.
plane.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't want to sound like I'm
Who
whinging.
cares? No one's
Okay.
listening.
So you're right.
I'm
So
listening, though.
thank you. Thank you. And I'll spiral and do, well, I'm wasting my time here. I'm doing all this work. I have to edit it. I have to deliver it. I
Mhm.
got to do all this for what? For $800?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now people are like, that's a lot of money. That's not a lot of money. They eroded our acting rates have been eroded by Ted
Yeah.
Sarandos, and I blame him 100%.
Okay, let me bring it back to Lewis Hamilton, Formula One. Here's what I think he's thinking these days is because of the way he talks to his, who does he talk to? His
His
race
race engineer.
engineer, his
Mhm,
race engineer, and they haven't gotten it together yet.
mhm.
Remember, he presses that button to talk to the race engineer.
You look presidential right now.
That's right, that's what they do. And they show their bottom teeth. I did not have so he wants it to go public. Like he could
Right.
just be talking to himself and they're inventing, but he wants people to know that 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 he's putting the blame on someone else. Why did you call me in so quickly?
Mhm,
I mean, if they can't even agree on pit stop strategy,
mhm.
don't you think it's like he's gone to some other place in his head where he's like, what have I done? Why did I leave Mercedes? Toto, I miss you, Toto. Yeah,
Uh,
Lewis, you had your chance. You
well,
hurt me. You stabbed me in the back. My very muscular back.
I think Toto deserves a lot of credit because Toto had a contract with Lewis, which had an exit clause, right? And also Toto, if I remember correctly, did not want to sign Lewis for too long. So he said, "I'm going to do this and this," which gave Lewis a exit clause if he wanted to leave. But also, I think it actually gave Toto the flexibility. I think Toto, it was a master move. I don't think Toto wanted Lewis to leave, but I also think Toto was like, "Oh, George has been outperforming him. We might he could drop off fast. I don't want to commit. I'll do this, and hopefully he stays. If he doesn't stay, I got Antonelli or whoever I can drop in that car." I think it was a masterful move by Toto, and I think Lewis has fallen to the desire to race in red like most Formula One drivers. So you can't blame him, but you can't just walk in to a new team after how many years with Mercedes?
13.
Like that, they operate differently. It's a
Mm-hmm.
different culture. Fred Vasseur probably eats cigars for breakfast. Who does that? Toto doesn't. Toto goes to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Toto's looking good these days, except that his rookie has hit the doldrums, and even George, or maybe it's that car.
No, they're fine. They're just having a little hiccup. They'll be fine. This happens all the time. They'll
Mm-hmm.
come back. George is actually racing incredible.
I hope.
George's interaction back to Max. So I guess Damon Hill was right.
What did he say?
Damon Hill said, and then he promptly was not rehired by Sky TV, or he quit, or Damon Hill was tired of all the crazy people on the internet, including myself. Damon Hill said, we want to see racing drivers race with precision and honor, and
Yeah.
be a surgeon, not bludgeon,
Yeah,
right?
Max.
Right. So when Max was driving Lando off the racetrack a few times last season, I think Mexico was probably one of the best. He was like, "Well, that's not racing. That's dodgem cars. That's bumper cars."
Mm-hmm.
He just literally used his car as a weapon to drive Lando off the track. I mean, that's not racing. That's something else. That's not racing. And then he promptly was not renewed on his contract with Sky, or maybe he
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Um, I think we can say that Damon Hill might have been quite accurate with how Max chooses to use his car sometimes after he drove
Very
into
accurate. I
George
think
Russell.
I've got some inaugural awards to give out.
Oh, fantastic.
Big Baby of the Race Award
Yeah.
goes to, drumroll please, I know you can't imagine who it is, Max Verstappen.
Yes.
He's been acting that way ever since he saw his father do it
Yeah.
as a child, and it works for him. So why stop?
Mm-hmm.
The Gen Xer, aka the man of the day, Fernando Alonso, for just just fighting it out, not giving up, maybe even enjoying himself a little bit.
Is this too strong of a comparison, JB? Are we the Fernando Alonsos of podcasters or people
I think
giving
you
up on
called me
hope?
the Max Verstappen of podcasters about 28 minutes ago.
Yeah, okay, so you're the Max, I'm the Alonso.
All right. Anyways, the runner-up to man of the race is George Russell for when he got hit by Max. All he said was, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
He didn't lose it. He didn't start whining like Max would. He didn't start crying. Can you believe this? What is this guy doing?
Mm-hmm.
There was none of that.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the post-race interview
With Max or George?
with George?
Yeah, George had all the room in the world to just laugh it off, bat those big eyelashes of his.
Both him and Lando crushed that response.
They
Like I loved
crushed
it.
it, hey? They
I
crushed it. What a great opportunity to act like men
yeah,
as
because
opposed to a giant Dutch baby.
I wouldn't have. I
No, you
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't have. I would have just went, no,
Yeah,
I don't like him. He
he's
said,
an
I don't.
idiot.
He's not a good driver.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's won world championships, but look what he does on the track. He's terrible. I don't like it. Every time I get in the car, I like, well, when's this idiot going to drive into somebody else?
yeah.
Right? That's what I would have said. Now I don't know if
There's
that would have
one
been a
in
good.
every group, aren't there? Isn't there?
Um,
Before Max, there was who? Who did this?
well, Fernando Alonso was pretty
Pretty
shifty with what he
chippy?
would. Oh yeah, Fernando has, and well, I would argue, and it's only because that's what I can remember because I started watching F1 when I was like probably like 8, 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
There was probably more drivers that maybe behaved in a aggressive way before that time, but I blame it on Ayrton Senna, and I like him. I
Ayrton
like Senna.
Senna? There's a
He,
direct line between Senna, Schumacher, Max.
yeah. They created this idea of
Hmm.
I'm coming in, you're going to let me through, or we're going to crash. So do you want to crash or let me through? Or if you're going to try and pass me, it has to be perfect because if not, I'm going to crash into you.
Yeah,
And I
if
don't think that.
this by any means possible, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
And it's not I don't know. Am I just getting nostalgic? But before that, was racing more gentlemanly because the sport is filled with criminals and rascals? Has it
I think,
always been shifty?
well, there's probably always been an element of shifty in Formula One for sure. But here's the big difference, I think, is in early days of F1, people were dying all the time.
Yeah.
So
I
when
don't
you
want
were,
to. I don't want to make it sound like I missed that, but the
but you
stakes were
do.
higher.
Yeah. So when you were a race car driver, you knew that if you did something really like
Mhm.
untoward or maybe
You
on the
could kill
line,
some. That's
I could kill
right.
that person.
Yeah.
Not like now it's still obviously very dangerous, but now it seems like they all feel like, well, I'm nothing that bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like what if just think about this for a sec. Verstappen drives into George and then there's some weird little damage on George's suspension, right? And then George, because of that contact, and then George goes around a corner, right? At high speeds, the suspension breaks, he spins off. For some reason, the car flips over, whatever, lands on his head, and he can't walk ever again.
Yeah.
Like that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
No F1 cars designed. Contact is going to happen. You want guys to go for a pass. You wanted George to do that maneuver. That was what we all wanted. And then we all say he shouldn't have hit, Max Verstappen like that. It's his fault. I'm like, we have to have some grace there because we want them to go for the passes. Otherwise, they'll never pass an F1. And it's a bit of a spoonful to swallow when Max is whining about it, because Max would do the same thing. He'd go for that gap and he would do the exact
Oh
same thing. So
yeah.
everyone just shut up. I love Nico. I'm going to make a video about Nico, but I'm going to lay into him a little bit. Gonna lay into him. Not that it
Good for
matters.
you.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Good
lay
for
in.
you. Hey,
God damn it.
I've got some questions.
Wait a second. Do I get an award?
Nope.
Oh.
Why is Ferrari in a couple races now in a row so slow on the team directives?
Well, I would say they've been slow for 5 or 6 years.
Have they?
They
Because the
haven't been.
commentator will point something out
Yeah.
that I won't be able to see. You'll be able to see it, but the car behind is faster than the Ferrari in front.
Mhm.
And then, they'll cut to Fred, and he'll be sitting there staring at the wall.
He'll be eating a cigar.
5 minutes later, the radio, okay, switch places.
Yeah. I
Meanwhile,
know.
Jolyon Palmer is like, can you please switch places?
Yeah, same with Anthony Davidson, right? Like he with the Sky. I'm like, they should just hire one of those guys.
It must be way easier to see it from a TV vantage point. Is it like, why is there such a delay? Are they considering other things?
I mean, I don't, to be honest with you, the only knowledge I can bestow upon that must be that they know more about their car and what their car's doing than any outside Formula One
Mm-hmm.
analyst. They have way more information. So they're like, no, we have to go 2 more laps because we know this about our car at this point in the race on lap 61. Like we know that, so I think and that's why it seems delayed. Having said that, it does seem sometimes you're like, what? Like, why did you
Why
wait 3
wait?
laps? Like at a certain point, there is a certain point where Ferrari seems to make dumb decisions in the sense of like, look, if you're doing a 2-stop, it was clearly lap 20 to do it. So just do it on lap 20 or lap 21, right? Like, and then they were like, no, well, we'll string it out for another 3 or 4. And then they've just kind of wrecked the point.
My next question to you is,
Did I get an award for that?
no.
Okay.
Liam is showing Father Helmut that he is worth keeping around. Hey,
Oh, that's what you think? No.
I thought he was really strutting his stuff today.
I think I think Liam Lawson is an okay driver. I don't think that he's like, I mean, he made a couple good passes, so I'll give him that. But he also had a lot of contact.
That's what
And
I mean. He was showing Red Bull. He was like, check this, look at me taking up my space, and I'm driving aggressively, and I'm trying to make moves.
Mhm. I mean, I'll give it to you. But I think that there's some, I don't, in a way, he reminds me a little bit of Verstappen.
Yeah, except he doesn't have the skill.
Doesn't have it. Doesn't have it.
No.
Poor Yuki Tsunoda. Again, I shouldn't say poor Formula One drivers because they're the fact that they're in
Can we
Formula One.
just stop with we don't have to always apologize for suffering is suffering. You can be
Okay.
rich and still have warts on your ass.
Yeah, but it's harder to
And
have
while we're at it,
what's on the ass.
we also know that you're not a race car driver.
I want everyone.
So you
I
don't
just.
have to keep saying that. I mean, look at your backdrop. Jesus.
What? Hey, there's race
Look
car.
at
There's
mine.
no. There's F1
Look at
race
mine.
cars. Those are F1 race cars
We're
right there.
clearly not. Yeah, we're clearly not race car drivers.
Okay, so just to be clear, I'm not a race car driver, but I do have some opinions about Yuki Tsunoda.
Please go ahead. The light couldn't get any greener if you watered it.
Yuki never should have taken the seat.
No, I said this months ago.
I'm just staying here.
He got a demotion when he took that seat, and Liam got saved.
He should have stayed there,
Yeah.
did really well, and then got a seat in another team outside of Red Bull.
Yes.
That's what he should have done.
I agree completely.
We should have been his manager.
Yeah.
God.
I agree completely. Anybody who walks into that pit of vipers with that old crusty creature back there, the good doctor. That can't be fun. And Yos, although Yos isn't around so much anymore now that he's a rally car driver.
Well, I also think he's not around as much because Max and him are already signed a deal with Aston Martin. That's why he's not there
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, maybe.
That's my
Or
personal.
maybe Max is like, Dad, go racing. You're causing me too much trouble. Why are you over there talking to Toto? You know?
You mean Christian Horner or Toto?
No, Toto. All
Oh,
those
right,
meetings him
right.
and Toto had was like, can you guys please get a room?
Yeah.
Jesus. But Yuki, yeah, he's screwed. Liam's doing the Bortoletto back there, just
Mhm.
slowly practicing, just the way a rookie should. And Kimmy's in the fucking pressure cooker, and
Now, you brought up Bortoletto, who had a great race.
mhm,
Nico Hulkenberg
mm,
finished 5th.
yeah. I mean, but really, he finished 8th.
Well, he might have, yeah, with the points for Verstappen, and then the
Couldn't have
safety car
happened to
helped.
a nicer guy.
But
Couldn't have
Nico
happened to a
Hulkenberg,
nicer guy.
right? Like,
Yeah. Here's some
God,
stunt casting for you.
go.
This is how Red Bull wins the drivers and the constructors next year. Nico Hulkenberg.
He's already
No,
signed. He's already signed up.
2027. 2027. He's signed to Audi till 2026.
Okay.
If Red Bull could get Nico to drive in the second seat to Max, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, they should have signed him. They're actually friends.
Who, Max and Nico?
Nico, I think they actually kind of get along. I mean, who gets
I
really
think
along with Max, really?
I think everybody gets along with Nico.
How do you not? He's such a good-looking man. He's got a
And he's
nice
just
temperament.
yeah. Yeah, I bet it'd be really fun to have a couple of cocktails with back in Sweden.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of cocktails, I'm probably going to have one today.
Today, well, you
Uh,
say that like you haven't had one in a while. When was your last drink?
Yesterday at 9 p.m.
You waited till 9?
Well,
I had
7:30.
finished.
It was 7:30.
Okay, now we're
I don't
getting
know
down
why. I
to
don't know why I
the
lied.
truth. I don't know either. I think you're just a natural. You're just naturally embarrassed.
About everything.
I've got one more night of drinking in me tonight. I'm going to Huntsville to meet Tagers.
Oh, wow. You're going to go all the way up there.
Yeah, I was, not, he said I'm in Huntsville, and I didn't even know where it was. And then I thought, oh, fuck, I'll drive to the Muskokas for a night.
It's a good time of year. It's going to be nice up there.
It's a good time of year. Dwayne's coming. It's
Yeah.
going to be fun. Who else is going to be there?
I don't know.
Me neither.
I mean, maybe.
I didn't
Well,
ask.
you might be. I don't know who's actually. No, it's probably just takers.
I
And
get a feeling that when Tegan, like everybody else goes to their rooms, and Tegan is like, yeah, nobody want to party? Okay,
Tegan likes
I'm gonna have to
to.
call in Dwayne.
Yeah. Well, I think he's actually going to go over to Dwayne's place for a few days and help Dwayne renovate his cabin
Oh,
in the
that's
woods.
right. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, JB, let's get a little personal.
Let's do it, Milky.
You were working on a project this morning.
Oh, dude, it's so embarrassing. I've spent the last week working on a PowerPoint presentation about men and loneliness for my master's in psychology. I spent 20% of that time researching men and loneliness, and 80% of the time learning how to use Google Slides. And it really hurt. It hurt me. I mean, speaking of catastrophizing Lewis Hamilton, I was thinking about crazy stuff, procrastinating, just in bullet point, getting my 15-year-old to show me how to do it because he knows how to use slides. My Miranda, my ex, I was talking to her about it. She was like, "That's how in court because she's in corporate life." She goes, "That's how we communicate with one another."
With slides?
Yeah, PowerPoint. Every single meeting, somebody's got a PowerPoint they've
So he's going to
generated.
go click, whoop, click,
No,
whoop.
I don't think it makes that sound, although maybe. So clearly, it's because of the calcification because of my lack of experience with it, but man, I had SA hair, from doing this for hours, and I had a stiff back, and so it's been awful, and it's really nice to talk to you instead of doing that. I finished it all. I just have to go through it one more time, and then I'll upload it to my prof, and then I'll be done with it. My God. And then
It's
I'm going to
nice.
have some drinky poos after I drive to the Muskokas.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to know I'm marginally better than Google Slides.
It's so hard. No, you're way better.
Okay, good.
You're way, way better. Hey, can we get back to F1?
Sure, I
I
just
got
was
some more questions.
good, great. I just wanted to, let people know that we're real humans and we're not race car drivers.
We're letting one person.
Doesn't
There's-
matter, JB. We'll get there.
Doesn't matter.
It's the it's the hashtags. We have to figure out the hashtags, I think.
Is it also if we advertise a live stream, we should probably show up for it. That'd be
Yo,
another good step.
look, here's the problem with the world today. I got answers. We need more unpredictability. We need a little bit more like everything is scheduled and timed, blah, blah, blah. It's like I can watch it later. I can watch it. I can stop the live thing. No, what we do, it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when we're going to
That's
do it. We're,
true.
we're going to advertise we're doing a show, then we're not going to do it
And you're going to be thankful for that.
for us.
For us freeing you.
Mhm.
Suddenly you got an extra hour and a half to your
You're
day.
welcome.
Yeah. I'm going to miss DRS. Am I right in remembering that DRS is going away? Because I enjoyed it this race. I can't
I'm not.
remember when exactly.
Is it going to go away for the 2026? You might be right.
DRS going away.
They're making the cars smaller.
Yes, the drag reduction system will be removed from Formula One for the 2026 season. It will be replaced by an active aerodynamic system and a manual override mode. This new system allows any car to activate low drag on the straights regardless of their position relative to other cars. I love AI. So much better than Google searches.
Oh
So
boy.
what do you think about that?
That sounds great. I mean, again, we said earlier in the podcast that a whole bunch of smart people can get together and still make the wrong decisions. So it could be a
That's
complete
true.
disaster.
What does manual override mean?
It means it's
in this
going to be the
case?
driver when they want to reduce their drag. They can do it at any point. If they think I believe what they're saying is like, okay, I'm in a corner. I think I can reduce a bit of my downforce, and I think I can go around this corner faster.
That's terrific. Because right now DRS is controlled by
You have to be within a certain point of the car in front of you
right,
to
yeah,
trigger the
a second,
DRS.
inside a second,
Yeah, yeah.
and it has to be on a straight, right? There's DRS zones, and they're only on straightaways. Is that correct?
Well, that's right. But the trigger point for the DRS might be in a corner.
Right, but
Right.
by the time is that
You
what
get
you
to
mean?
engage it. Yes, it has to be on a straightaway. Well,
Okay,
that's exciting. I want to know what that's. Now I'm going to go research that. I want to find out what that means exactly because that's kind of cool. That means you might drivers might be trying some crazy stuff during a race, to
yeah.
get
I
past.
just want to go. I finally crystallized this opinion. I just want to go on the record as saying I'm not going to talk about Formula One being boring anymore. Because
Wow.
so much of sport is boring. And those are the times when you get a snack or when you start working out. Like I love exercising in front of a Formula One race.
Yeah, I do that too. I do it watching hockey a lot actually.
Yeah, there's plenty of hockey, which is surprisingly dull.
Well, it's interesting, right? It's like you play 82 games and then another like whatever it is, 7 times 4, maybe 28
Oh my
games
God, it's
to
too
win the
much.
Stanley Cup. And you're like, I don't care what anyone says. There's probably at least 30 of those games are boring. Like there's I like how like and
Or
also
inconsequential.
yeah, or there's got to be some players that'll be like, I'm taking tonight off, guys. I'm skating half
I'm
speed,
so sore. I got a cold.
right?
Hockey players must be the fittest people on earth. They
I
gotta
mean,
be.
I feel like it might be soccer players
But okay, yeah,
or football
you're
players.
right.
Might be.
It's
I don't know.
hockey. You can't just stop like in soccer,
No.
and just stand there, look around a little bit. You're
True.
always on the move, and you're always waiting for someone to crush you into
Mhm.
glass.
You brought up something
Oh,
about hockey players and football players and the difference between, you know, how they play. This is something I'll say about most sport because I think it's in all sport. There's all this like cheekiness, this like little antagonistic behavior that happens a lot, right? Like whatever, you body check someone, you raise your elbow up a little bit higher, maybe to get them up here. Maybe in soccer, when you're running beside them, you maybe, give them an elbow to their ribs, like all this sort of stuff. I wonder if, no way to implement this. I wonder if there was a way to have more gentlemanly or politeness, or I don't know what the right word is, but like something where I'm not going to do the slightly dirty thing. I'm just not going to do the dirty thing
mhm,
to win.
mhm.
And I say this in our Formula One
Yeah.
podcast because Lando seems like he's trying to not do untoward things on a racetrack. And I think Oscar Piastri is the same way as well. And that's why I think this is going to be a really exciting world championship because I think you're going to have two drivers that aren't going to be, fingers crossed, dicks.
Oscar isn't doesn't have the same thing that Max has. Oscar has his own thing, and it still comes with some grace.
Hmm.
Under like serious pressure.
Hmm.
Lando's, when he loses it, it's sort of faced inward,
Hmm.
and he hurts himself first.
Hmm.
Max is outward, but yeah, the George Russells are classy individuals, and I
Hmm.
hope that the Liam Lawsons of the world emulate the George Russells and not the Max Verstappens.
Boy, could you imagine if we just had I thought maybe there'd be just crashes left, right, and center. It'd be super exciting if everyone raced like Max. Like, it could be the best sport in the world. They're just crashing into each other I mean, that wouldn't be
Yeah.
racing. It'd be called dodgem cars, as Damon Hill points out.
Yeah, it would also be a lot of red flags,
Yeah.
stoppages, and then you.
Someone needs to tell me, JB, and
Mm,
maybe I'll look it up, but someone needs to tell me why, when there's a yellow car or a yellow flag and they bring out the safety car,
mhm.
I should know this, and it's probably an obvious reason, but they have to let all the back markers go all the way around to catch up, and then everyone gets reset on the same lap, right? So if you were lapped, you can unlap yourself. Why can't the cars just all pull over, slow down, and let everybody through, and then it's just one lap behind a safety car, or it doesn't take 2 laps to do all that? Why can't they just do
Oh,
that?
I wonder, is it tires?
I don't think it's tires. Maybe it has something to do with the timing sequences. Like it screws up the timing for the race. But it's so frustrating because they end up spending. They have to wait for the tracks to clear, and then the cars can unlap themselves. And then you spend a lap, maybe 2 laps, for that to happen
Mm.
because they have to catch up behind.
Mhm. I have more questions for you. Hold on,
Okay.
I don't know where they are.
I'm left
I
alone
write them
again.
down
That's okay.
every
Well, this is my opportunity to let you all know that I
wherever
actually
I
am a little nervous tonight because I'm going down to do stand up. I have to try some new jokes, and I'm not even sure if I have punchlines or if I'm just going to be talking on the stage. Like I think they're jokes, but they might actually it just might be just me having a conversation with a bunch of strangers looking at me. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'll update you
I'm just gonna
next
go
week.
downstairs.
You know, sounds like JB is going to go downstairs. This gives me another opportunity. Like I was going to talk about tipping a little bit tonight. I don't know if this is funny. It's more of an observation, but we tip taxi drivers. We tip people that drive us in Ubers and Lyfts and stuff like that. But when we get hurt and an ambulance, we don't tip ambulance drivers, and I don't think that's funny. I mean, I certainly don't think it's funny that we don't tip we should tip ambulance drivers. They helped you get better. They may have even saved your life. So we probably should have a feature in an ambulance where you can tap your card.
Got him.
Okay, whew, you let me know if that's worthy of retelling. Thank you. I just tried out my tipping observation, which I'm not sure is a joke or not, or me just talking to strangers about what's in my head. So,
Okay, good.
okay.
Oh, tonight when you're
Yeah.
doing stand up, where are you doing it?
Comedy Underground or Underground. Oh, I should really know the name. It's
Remember, watch your tongue clicks.
Underground Comedy Club, and I'll watch my tongue clicks.
When you're up there.
Okay, I'll try.
I listened to a Peter Windsor podcast the other day.
You love him.
I do like him. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's hard to find out exactly what happened to him. Do you know?
I think he got barred by the FIA for being quite candid with his.
Do you remember what happened?
I don't remember. I'll try and look it up, but
Because there's very little online that I could see so far. He was with USF1, a team called USF1. He was the team director. There was some financial malfeasance somewhere around there. And that team or the principals therein received a lifetime ban from racing in the FIA, from the FIA.
right. Well, maybe that's what it is. But I thought it was that he had his press um, certifications to be allowed to go to the revoked. They because they only issue them out to so many people.
Yeah, I couldn't
And
find anything about that. I'd love to know more. I love the gossip.
well, we should ask him on his podcast.
We
Why?
should. I've got so many questions for him, but like he does live streams and he gets questions and I don't know when they happen.
Well, you got to go on to his website and research when they're going to be on.
I mean, come on. I'm
Why
not
am I
going to do
talking?
that.
Well, I know you're not. But we haven't even figured out how to set up our own stream.
Okay. Windsor was asked why no one watches motorsports other than F1. And he said it was because years ago, when Bernie and Max had a meeting, and probably Flavio was there in attendance too,
Somehow.
and they decided one of the ways forward for F1 was to ensure that F1, that if you wanted to participate in F1, you had to design and build your own cars at vast expense. So it wasn't like that prior to that. You had to do every single race. That was another thing he suggests that Bernie and Max, who's Max? Bernie Ecclestone and Max
Mosley.
Max Mosley.
And he's the the Ben of the FIA back
the
then.
MBS. I see. They also decided you got to run two cars. You can't run one. So F1 teams used to run just one, and they used to race just sometimes.
What would happen is it was sort of, I think, I'm not sure what the term is, open classification or open racing, something like that, where maybe you don't have the money to fly to wherever, but
Yeah.
I can do all the European races. So I'll just do that,
Yeah.
and that's how I'll win some money, and then maybe I can do the whole season. They would do that, and sometimes you only had enough money for one car, one driver, right? Because that's what that was taken away. And you'd also just try and qualify. There was enough cars. That's right. Yeah. They created, I guess, like they started they gatekeeped it so that because I get it, like you wouldn't want a whole bunch of teams folding all the time, because that was happening a lot because it was so expensive.
I see.
But the reason why it was so expensive, and I think, would be like you take a team like Ferrari or the top teams at the time, like McLaren and Williams, and they became so dominant and they made so much money. All the sponsors wanted to go there so they could just spend as much money as they wanted. And of course, if you're a small team, there's no way you could compete. You could never catch up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what's happening in the world today. A lot of people, I should say, a few people have all the money and a whole bunch of other people don't. and
Yep.
now it becomes harder to just get in, to just survive, and
That's right.
that's so they came up with a cost cap for
Right.
Formula One, which is totally logical.
Yeah, it happens a lot in other sports.
Yeah.
The other thing that Peter Windsor said is one of the barriers they did, the reason why no one watches F2 or F3 or rally racing the way F1, the way people watch F1 is that Bernie and Max decided that to take as much of the publicity for F1 as possible. For instance, F2, the rules around F2 and F3 entertaining their sponsors individually are very stringent. You can't F2 and F3 can't entertain their sponsors in their paddocks. There's a communal
Oh.
area, so they all have to take turns.
Oh, interesting.
So
I didn't
you
know that.
can't wheel and deal and wine and dine like you can in F1. They don't have hospitality.
I love it when you dig this stuff up, JB.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So they keep everybody segregated. Also, they don't give out a lot of passes, F1 paddock
Mhm,
passes to F2 and F3 people. So they
mhm.
keep it all tight into themselves. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, it's the definition
Love
of
that stuff.
gatekeeping,
Yeah.
right? It's probably like what a lot of people think about Hollywood or whatever. Like in the studio system, you try and get in, but there's a bunch of people that are like, well, how
Yeah.
many? Only a few
And
people.
now and look how it served them.
Mhm,
Not anymore. Now the
mhm,
gates are coming down and now there's a proliferation of crap.
mhm,
It's just like old F1 where you had a
mhm.
bunch of teams
Oh,
folding.
yeah,
So you get the quantity when you don't have the gatekeepers,
yeah,
and you get the egalitarianism of it. You
mhm.
know, you're free to join, free to come on in, but the result is a real downturn in quality, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, I think you could make that argument. You could also make the argument that maybe the reason why we have so much crap TV is A, we have to make so much of it, right? There's that. But that doesn't mean the people that are able to make it without having to use the gatekeepers means they're making crap TV. It's that
No,
they
no, I
actually
was suggesting this. Sorry,
oh, I
the
misunderstood.
online stuff.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Like TV is there's a lot of great TV. There's
Mhm.
more great TV now than there used to be. I would say.
Okay, maybe.
Right? It's all the other stuff that people are watching instead of
I
studio-made stuff.
like this podcast, or I mean, thankfully, no
No,
one's
no, no.
watching this.
Oh, maybe like this podcast, yeah.
Mhm.
Also, watch your self-deprecation tonight
Oh, what?
when you're on camera.
I'm allowed to Lando it up if I want.
No, it's a bit harsh. People don't like it.
I think people
People like men with deep voices and who
okay.
have confidence.
All right. Should I go up there like this one?
That's
That what
perfect. That is
I
perfect. Who do you
uh,
sound like
all
right
right.
now?
Okay. Let's talk about tipping. Let's talk about tipping today.
What are your without doing the bit? What's your take on tipping?
Without doing the bit that but the most simplest way to look at it is like we tip waiters. They're just bringing you food, but we don't tip the ambulance driver who saves your life or gets you to the hospital on time so your leg isn't
Mm.
amputated.
And you know what?
So,
Ambulance systems are chronically underfunded.
yeah. So if anyone needs some tip,
I bet you do tips.
mhm.
You've got tipping tips.
No, I'll try that. I'll try that in the stand up.
Buy milk bags.
I got tips for you people.
You know, we should tip ambulance drivers. I bet you do in countries like Italy where
But
you want to go.
yeah, maybe
I
I
bet
don't.
there's a lot of like, hey, can you get us there faster?
Yeah, maybe, maybe. So that's one of the bits. The other bits is touch screens versus toggles
Okay,
and
that sounds
buttons.
good.
You know, it's just
I don't want you to burn
no
the
one's listening to this. I should
material.
workshop it with you. But the idea is like, I don't know what the real joke is, but I'm just like, we everything is touch screen now, and like half the time it doesn't work. So I can guarantee you, I'm pretty sure that a nuclear bomb trigger is a button with like a
Yeah.
lever to pull open the thing to hit it. So if that's true for nuclear bombs, we might want to think about that for our phones.
Yeah, no, you're right. The
There should be a
joke's somewhere
toggle
in
here.
there.
There should be a toggle
Yeah.
and a button. Not
Before you click on like
Instagram. Are you sure you want to
Social
go on
media, yeah.
Instagram? Are you sure? Because you got to pull this, do that. Maybe that's why they have all these password verifications now. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're trying to help.
No, they're not trying to help. They're not trying. Big tech is not trying to help. Those things are designed to hurt.
I think you're right. I think that we're in trouble. I can't. Is it Simon Kinnick? Simon, not going to get his name right. He's
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
I saw him on the Diary of CEO, that other podcast I watch,
Yeah.
and he was talking about AI, and he's like, "Look, if no one's really telling you, this is one theory is no one's really telling you the truth. It's rare that people are telling the truth, and AI is a perfect example of companies not telling you the truth because everybody knows that this is a very powerful thing, and no one wants to let anyone have any leverage." And that's why they're all, what's the word? They don't want rules or regulations,
Mhm,
right? They don't want
mhm,
to constrain it because they want to be the first to get there, and then they'll have complete power, right?
mhm,
He goes, but like cars, we have seatbelts. And we were like, everyone's like, well, I don't want to wear a seatbelt. No, but like it's probably good for you.
mhm,
Speed limits might be a good thing. He goes, so why can't we do that with technology? Why can't we do that with like these are like
mhm,
normal like things? Like what's the seatbelt for AI? Let's
mhm.
figure it out. We can't just you know storm blindly forward with a technology that potentially is going to be way smarter than we'll ever
This
be.
is always the way it goes, don't you think, with technology?
Well, that's yeah. That's why it should be regulated.
It's all no, as far as regulation goes, it's always the way. And human beings can't get it right. We're up in arms over I can't believe, it's just a power grab and a cash grab. Yeah, welcome to capitalism.
Mhm.
Of course, OpenAI is going to go from a not for profit to a puppet arm of Microsoft and be worth trillions and all the rest of them. And it really boils down to we're not talking about race cars at all. It really
No.
boils down to us voting in the people that actually care about other people. But go ahead, America, and hire a bully. It's a lot like cheering for Max Verstappen.
So it
You're
gets
gonna
it back to
win.
Formula
You're
One.
gonna win, but can you sleep at night?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get in too much depth on that. All I will say that I think about regulation is nature has its own rules that create balance, right? There's like the leaves grow, the leaves fall down, that makes nutrients, it's allowed mushrooms to grow, and blah 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 blah. It's all kind of imbalance. And when one species becomes too dominant, it's actually bad for,
Mhm.
and then that species destroys the environment and goes away, and a new system goes up. So we're out of balance now, and maybe our species will be wiped off the planet Earth.
Speaking I don't wanna end on that
Why
note,
not?
because I had one more question for you before we
Okay.
wrap it up. If you're okay with wrapping it up, we're over
No,
an
we
hour.
should. No, we need to
We
wrap
should.
it up. I got auditions. I got jokes to write. I got
When's the next time that you love nature? I'm on the fence. When's the next time you're able to get out into, the trees, the
not soon
wilderness?
enough. I need to do it soon. I need
You
to make
need
it
to,
happen. Take
Milky.
it to the beach.
You
I'm gonna
love
go.
it.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
never talked about the Canadian Grand Prix, by the way,
It's coming.
which is one of the best. We should do a preview for that because it's one of the best
We
races.
should go. We're not gonna go for the 2nd year in a row. We've been doing this podcast for a year,
Yeah, and we're getting better.
and so far we haven't told anyone when it's happening.
And that's what's miraculous about our
You know what? I can't even upload the goddamn things properly on the like, I worked on it so hard, and then this morning I was just looking through my library of podcasts, and there was 2 F1 chat pods, and I was like, "What? There's 2? No, of us.
Yeah.
I published 2? Are there 2 separate streams? What the fuck have I done now?"
Listen, why didn't we just get your kids to help us?
Oh, they don't want to. They got their own
Well, they
lives.
might want to help me.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Our next podcast should be
On our next podcast.
it should be Sunday morning, a week today.
Yeah.
and we'll do a preview of one of the greatest F1 races of all time, which is Formula One in Canada. There's so many good stories and so many great races that have happened
Let's
there.
do it. Okay. You spearhead the research. Actually, I don't have a presentation this week, so last week of ethics. Holy shit. I
So
gotta
much.
go. I gotta go ride my bike right now. I'm about to burst.
Okay, go.
Bye bye.
Bye.
I don't even know how to end this.